Yes, hello, I'm your host, James Vandermart, for mini-series episode number 2, taking a look at the Bendigo Cup series, and it is time for the grand final, the big dance on Friday, the 11th of October. Massive support card, plenty happening on the track, and I'd almost say even more happening off the track, and the man who can let us know exactly what's going on is the big boss of Bendigo, Charlton Hindle, who's on the Zoom line, rearing to go. Charlton, big week. The heats did not disappoint last week either.
No, thanks for having me, James. It's good to be back, and what a cracker night racing Saturday was. So it was awesome to watch, and we've got a really good field. So really looking forward to it.
Just off the top, were there any that surprised you last week? We're going to go heat by heat and take a bit of a review of those races, but was there any that did surprise? I thought the Boracay Greyhound for David Gill, that electrifying turn of pace, I thought was really eye-catching.
Yeah, one that stood out for me, I know it jumped favourite, but Matt Locke, I did not give a chance out there in box 7.
I think sometimes, Charlton, we doubt greyhounds. Like, for example, Wow She's Fast going to Phoenix number 2. I mean, she had her knockers, but these champion greyhounds, they know when to win and how to win a big race, and I don't think that can be underestimated.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I definitely underestimated, and I underestimated Wow She's Fast in that second Phoenix too, so... the trainers definitely know their dogs best and know how to get them right for the big events. And that's why they're such a draw card, because they always run very well in the big races.
Now, mate, before we get to the race-by-race preview from the heats, and then we'll take a look and dissect what's going on with the other feature finals, I reckon Canyon All Class might even be the draw card of the night for just the average punter going for a bet. Why should these punters get to the track Bendigo on Cup night? It's plenty happening, as we know, on the track, but you've organised a fair amount of good stuff to happen off the track as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're fortunate enough to be sponsored by Sportsbet, so we're utilising them a lot to help us out on the night. So we'll actually have a chance for local punters on track to cheer on the 4 campaign, I guess it's called. So you can, your name gets randomly drawn, and if you're on track and the number 4 wins and you're the lucky participant that's been drawn, you'll actually go home with $500 cash. So that's a big draw card, and we're very thankful for Sportsbet for getting on board to that. We've also got our community clubs challenge as well, so we've got 8 local football, netball, cricket clubs, and also a golf club in there to try to get a share of the winning prize is $3,000. So that'll go straight to their community club, which will be unreal. And then also just for the average race goer who will be here, we'll have blackjack tables, roulette. Jack Crisp will be here. We'll have live music from local artist Jess Mangan. So there'll be plenty off the track, that's for sure.
I was there last year. Jess sounded absolutely terrific. And the thing I'm most excited about this year is not the roulette, surprisingly, is getting to know Jack Crisp and finding out. I reckon every single greyhound trainer, they're going to say when it comes to longevity in greyhound racing, that is a key to keep your greyhound racing and never missing a run. Well, Jack Crisp, I think at the moment, he's the AFL player with the longest run without having a game off, so without missing a game, which is it's an extraordinary stat, really.
Absolutely, it is. I think he's mid to high 200s. He's second behind Jimmy Steins, and I think he'll get it this year, or might be early next year if he or the following season if he continues to play. So that's an awesome record to have under your belt.
Yeah, right now he's the active most, as you say, behind Jimmy Steins for the all-time record. Let's take a look now back at the review from last Saturday night. There was a couple of runs that I thought was outstanding. They just sort of shone on the big stage. First one was Hotel Whiskey 1. Took out heat number 1, jumped from box number 8, just electrifying speed. Was it a case of maybe there not being as much pace in that heat, and therefore he looked a little bit better than maybe he was? I'm not trying to moz the dog or talk him down, but 6:50, 11:21 are very good sections, but it almost looked as if he was going quicker.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It was funny when we were doing the tips. I had Kenya Nitrate and it
flew out,
saying that it would drop back, and it actually led. Yeah. So I think the dog was even surprised. He was having a look around and seeing that he was leading. So I think that's exactly right. Like, there wasn't, compared to the other heats, there wasn't a lot of pace early, and once he got going, he was very impressive. That's for sure.
Heat number 2, race number 5, Zeus Thunderbolt. This was the first of 3 winners for Brad Greeno. It's just an extraordinary training effort from a name synonymous with doing great things in greyhound racing. This greyhound, the moment he stepped onto the track, he went through the Pink Diamond Series at Shepparton, and there was just this wow factor. And then I reckon he not that he went backwards in any way, but he just had to learn to race the big dogs. And I reckon this was a huge step in the right direction for him. 23.64. As I said, Hotel Whiskey 1 looked like it was humming early. Zeus Thunderbolt was 6.46 to the first mark, so over half a length quicker, and then was sitting just off the tempo leaving the back in 11.17 behind Riendo, who was absolutely scooting along. So there was a lot more depth speed-wise in this heat, and I thought Zeus Thunderbolt handled himself really, really well.
Yeah, and got a perfect card into the race from Riendo as well, didn't he? So he led, and Zeus Thunderbolt just jumped in behind him. Been watching the run of Mockfish. Very unlucky for Joe and George Borg. Stormed home, couldn't get off the back, and got stuck wide. Missed the kick a little bit, so he was very unlucky, and he's definitely one to follow out of the heats. But yeah, can't take anything away from Zeus Thunderbolt. Landed in an awesome spot, and it was very strong late too.
I reckon the trainer of Riendo, Tommy Walk, he's going to give you a buzz and he's going to say, is there any chance, Charlton, we can run the Bendigo Cup next year from the puppy boxes? Because if they do, there's only 2 of them, I think, at the end of the back straight, but I couldn't see anyone catching Riendo over 300 metres. She's lightning early.
Yeah, she's been, and she's also always good to watch because you know what you're going to get. She puts herself in the winning position early, and she's pretty strong late too. But unfortunately, she was just outclassed in this heat, that's for sure. But she's a ripper of a dog, that's for sure.
Well, you said to me earlier, Matlock had no chance of winning. He produced a pretty good effort to run down Description, who I think we were both pretty keen on to run well in heat number 3. And just as I said, you just can't underestimate these champs of the sport. He's sort of, I reckon if you were to pick a pin-up boy of country cups right now, it would probably be him. Like he's making just about every one he goes for. He's been successful in country cups. Warrnambool's one that springs to mind, and you know what you're going to get with him. He's going to give his all, and he's a fast canine. He can run.
Yeah, and absolutely. And you and I questioned whether he could have been maybe a little bit underdone, but Michelle obviously had him raring to go, and he had one run here in Bendigo. It was a while ago, and he ran a very good time, but it wasn't didn't stand out. So I was like, that's what made me question him. And box 7 as well, because I know he likes the rail, but he actually stayed wide and held his line well. And yeah, he's very surprising and very impressive too. So obviously drew box 2 in the final. So he's been with a good chance.
Yeah, I reckon I remember that race you just mentioned with Matlock, and he just didn't find the line like he sometimes can, but he was back to his best. And as you say, box number 2, it's going to suit him down to the ground. What about mile a minute? The straight track superstar. And he just knows how to win. Like this is a greyhound that has a jockey on his back that almost knows where the post is. Like he just won the National Straight Track Championship. He just won the Hillsville Cup. He just really gets into the Sportsbet Bendigo Cup, and maybe he just wins that as well. Like he's a greyhound that clearly knows how to win.
Yeah, exactly. And draws decent box that I reckon will suit him as well out wide. Like watching him in that heat, he missed the kick a little bit too, didn't he? And once he got going, he was very strong late, which was also the query with me too, because obviously the Hillsville Cup over the 350 there, and then he was very strong late here. I thought he might have gone the other way and tied, but he was run over the top, which was very impressive.
What about race 8, heat 5, Boracay Storm, the greyhound that I thought was really impressive just to put Past the Buck away the way that he did early. But I was equally as impressed by the start of the race by Boracay Storm as I was by the finish of Past the Buck, because we know when he gets it right at the start, he has got that flash of brilliance. And although he didn't really produce that from the good draw, he's drawn perfectly, I think, in the final to run a big race, and he hit the line really, really strong. So my theory from this heat, obviously the top 2 qualifying for the final, was Boracay Storm was outstanding, but he'll have to lead if he's going to win the Bendigo Cup. Past the Buck almost showed a little bit of a different string to his bow. He can get back, he can flash home, and we know that he can also burn the candle at the other end as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that he draws perfectly in box 1, which I do agree, but it's funny in the replay, he looked like he wanted to get off the rail. He sort of jumped right, which was very surprising. So as you said, he wasn't the best start compared to him on Saturday. So if he gets that and gets on the rail, like, yeah, he could be, and as you said, was strong late. So don't worry, he'll run well on Friday night, that's for sure. But yeah, nothing to take away from Barry K Storm. He was very impressive early. And then, just fell in late, didn't he? But I think that's more to do with past the buck storming home.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, where we record this is on Zoom, obviously, the podcast. I'm up in the Yarra Valley, you're up at Bendigo, you're on the GRV free Wi-Fi. Seems to be working okay. I'm not having near as much luck. And I know I'm going a little bit off topic, Charlton, but it's one thing that pisses me off, I'm going to be honest, is bad signal in this great country. I mean, I moved out to the Yarra Valley, which is only a hop, skip and a jump from Melbourne 10 years ago, and I'm telling you now, the signal has got worse here. I know this podcast wasn't meant to be there for me to have a whinge, but that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to watch the replay of Unleash in Miami, and even that won't work, mate. What hope have I got?
Yeah. I could agree with you. We've opened a can of worms. I definitely agree with you.
Is there anything else that pisses you off before we move on?
Not suitable for this podcast anyway.
All right, we'll start a new one. Hey, what about Unleash in Miami? I mean, I'm watching the replay now, and I don't know what to say about him. Like, I don't want to underestimate him, but I just don't think he's doing what he was doing when he first started in that Bendigo Gold Rush, yet he's made a Bendigo Cup.
Yeah, completely agree. I thought he was going to run a lot better than what he did, drawing the red. Like, he ran 23:42 here on debut, which is one of the quickest times I've seen since I've been here. And I'm exactly the same. I thought he would run at least a 23:70. In fact, it was like a 23:92. I think off the top of my head. And he had the perfect draw that suits him. Yeah, I think I'm going to look past him. But yeah, well done. He's in it with the shot. He's made a Bendigo Cup final, as you said. But it wasn't the strongest, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange run. Did you find the weather changed at all throughout the night? It's pretty similar.
No, because then obviously the last heat as well was the quickest of the night. So I don't think that really affected it. It drew favourably, had all the favours, and just held on late. So I wasn't too impressed by it, to be honest.
One thing I'll say is don't underestimate the Greenos. I'm exactly with you, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have a little ace up their sleeve. Race number 10, Heat 7, final heat, Aston Fantastic. Look, if I had to pick one greyhound right now that I reckon could be the Country Cup superstar over the next 12 to 18 months, this is him. 6:38, 11:07 off the back. That 11:07 is Fernando Bale class. Like, that is what the absolute elite run. And I know we mentioned a few earlier, Boracay Storm, who was really quick off the back, went 11:20, and even the greyhound that we thought looked visually very impressive, Hotel Whiskey 1 at 11:21 in heat number 1. But for this boy to run 2 lengths quicker than Hotel Whiskey 1, like, if you were to put that in perspective, he absolutely lit the track up the other night. So I know he probably hasn't drawn perfectly in the final, but I reckon he is the quickest dog in the country right now at this distance range.
Again, 100% agree with you, mate. He was very impressive. As you said, he drew perfect, the red, and gave nothing a chance, and he was falling away, which is hard to do in a Bendigo Cup heat over 425 metres. So there's not much more you could say. It was just a phenomenal run, and if he replicates that, gets the card across from box 4, he'll be very hard to run down.
Big race preview. Well, this is what it's all about. This is the reason people listen to the Green Light on Premier Racing podcast. I think I got that right. The Green Light on Racing and Sport podcast it is now. I don't even know the own name of my podcast, Charlton, which is a bit of a bloody worry, isn't it? We're going to change it soon anyway to something about just whinging about life's woes. Anyway, let's go through the draw. Box 1, Pass the Buck for Anthony Azzopardi. Box 2, Matlock, Michelle Mallia. Box 3, Unleash in Miami, Brad Greeno. Box 4, Aston Fantastic, David Gill. 5, Hotel Whiskey 1, Anthony Azzopardi. 6, Boracay Storm, David Gill. 7, Mile a Minute, Brad Greeno. 8, Zeus Thunderbolt, Brad Greeno. And I've got this funny thing that I always say, you can tell the quality of a race by its reserves. And a lot of people will get annoyed when I say that, but Mockfish description, the 2 reserves, and I reckon that is a fine example as to why this is such a good Bendigo Cup field. Mate, I'm going to throw it to you for a tip because I really am unsure, but I am starting to lean to the fastest 425-metre dog in the country. Who do you like?
Yeah, I won't talk you out of that one, but I'm actually, after the box draw, I was pretty keen on Matlock.
Yeah.
I gave him, as I said, didn't give him much in the heats, and he's proved me wrong again. And I think he'll obviously draw. He's got box 2, and he should, going off past the Bucks last start. I don't know if that was just a bit of a once off, but I think he should clear him and find the rail, and he'll take the shortest route home and be very hard to beat, I reckon.
So, mate, for you, if you were to play footy, there's absolutely no loyalty, because I feel like we can turn you very quickly. Like last week, I don't think Matlock's going to win. This week, he's going to win the Bendigo Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an informative decision, so I've got my information now after watching the heats.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, like he was, as said, the heats, I didn't like him in box 7 and didn't think he was up to it and going as well as he is. But Rochelle there, she's made me eat my words, and now I'm on him.
Well, mate, I'm going to go Aston Fantastic. The more I look at this, Hotel Whiskey 1's going to stay up the track. There is Matlock unleashing Miami and past the buck to get past. That's the huge concern, I think, for Aston Fantastic, because he necessarily doesn't spear the lids. He just jumps with them, but his acceleration is tip-top. Like, if he has box 1, I'm happy to load up on him, but I'm happy to have an each-way play on Aston Fantastic. I think he is the dog to beat in the Sportsbet Bendigo Cup. $40,000 to the winner this Friday night at Group 2 level. So you'll stick with the Greyhound in box 2. I'll go with 4 Aston Fantastic. What about the other feature races that we've got draws for at the moment? We're recording this Monday, so quite early in the week. Fields will be out in the next 24 hours or so. Taking a look at the Spring Cup, I think there's one dog that picks himself, and I reckon right now, if Aston Fantastic's the best 400-metre dog, 450-metre dog going around, this bloke's the best 600-plus dog, Kenya All Class, and he's only a juvenile, a baby learning his craft.
Yeah, he was very impressive here on Friday night. He was the he's trialled here over the 425. But first look from the 660 in that first bend, because it's a very short straight into the first bend here. You could tell he got a little bit lost and went a little bit wide. And then once he hit the 425 boxes, if you watch the replay, he was phenomenal on the back there. So I think that experience coming into the first turn now, and obviously drawn box 8, I'd expect a much improved effort from him in this final for sure.
Well, I like what you're doing there. I think we're both going to cheer pretty loudly for Kenya All Class. The Battlers Cup Consolation, do we have a tip for that? I know we've done the form on the Battlers Cup. I haven't had much of a look at the Consolation. I'm not sure we need to delve too deeply into the Battlers Cup Consolation, but do you like one?
I'm exactly the same. I have had a look at it, but I think your best pick in that race will be your favourite number between 1 to 8.
Okay, throw a dart.
I'm not going to talk to you.
Throw a dart. That's all right. That's okay. What about?
No, I don't have a tip for that one.
Nah, fair enough. Look, we'll put one on the podcast as Catch My Drift. I reckon that could be the greyhound. I just think he can be a bit hit or miss, so I'm not sure I'd be putting the hard-earned cash on, but he can be our tip that we can cheer. Aston Monarchy, for me, mentioned this last week as a serious greyhound to win the Battlers Cup. Not a serious greyhound moving forward, but a serious greyhound for this race.
Yeah, for sure. And there's been some decent dogs coming out of the Battlers Cup in the last couple of years. So it is a good little stepping stone for them once they put their craft together. So I was with Aston Ophelia with the Mark Johnson kennel, so I'll stick with him. I think he'll be strong. Last
the features, the Grade 5 final. Just $22.50 to the winner, but I think this race is actually probably a better race than what the prize money almost suggests, to be fair. You've got Kraken Turbo, Go-Go Evie, Cade, Better Banjo, Press Start, Aeroplane Mode, Jed's Memory instinctively. I'm keen on Aeroplane Mode. It was pissing down rain, I think fair to say, when Aeroplane Mode raced. I think it was last Friday night, wasn't it? Jumped from box 2, didn't begin that well, but just the turn of pace. It was like a Boeing 747 when they're roaring down the runway and they're about to take off and everything's just shuddering. That was Aeroplane Mode just whizzing around. It was impressive.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Aeroplane by name and by nature.
Yeah, that's right. That's why they named it that.
So no, you'll as you said, I'm with him as well. He'll be hard to beat. He'll be rocking them down the straight here at Bendigo, and yeah, you'll definitely get your money's worth if you have a play on him on Friday night.
Yeah, 100%. Well, they're the big five at Bendigo this Friday night, the 11th of October. Huge night, as our man's already mentioned. Jackie Crisp will be there, roulette tables. There'll be singing, maybe even Charlton after a couple of cans after the last, doing a bit of karaoke. So that's the reason to get to Bendigo Punters. We're going to say farewell to you, but the show is not over, mate. It's time for some inside info from the trainers. I know most people listen to the podcast, not for us, not for me, definitely, maybe for you, but they definitely listen for inside info. So enjoy a big night Friday night, mate. We can't wait to get up there.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you here, James.
Inside info.
I'll tell you what, ahead of the Bendigo Cup, I am so very excited to have a special guest on the line. He's not necessarily technologically savvy. We tried to get him on Zoom. We couldn't quite do that. We all wanted to see the pretty face of Anthony Azzopardi, but the next best thing is to hear his voice. Ant, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you.
2 runners engaged in the final, and past the buck, he's an exciting greyhound when he gets it right. How do you see the Cup playing out, starting with the boy drawn box number 1?
It's once again, he's drawn bad again, but sort of, as everyone knows, he sort of likes to step to the right a bit and drift off. But look, if he can get the start right, he'll be a very hard dog to hold out, but he's just got to get the start right. And last week we sort of were a bit in the panic mode trying to get him there in one piece, and but we've got a week this week, and the dog's absolutely perfect now. So hopefully he can improve off last week.
You said he's not necessarily, well drawn from box number 1, but when he hits the start, mate, he could use this draw and just turn it into something special. The way I looked at his heat run was how good was his closing section, and we all know what he can do when he gets the start right, if he uses the red.
That's right. Look, he has trialled so many times at Bendigo with 6:30, 6:28. He can hit them lids, as you know. All he has to do is do what he does in a trial and just not get touched, and mate, he can really let rip.
Mate, I remember last year before the Phoenix, you took him to Bendigo, didn't you? And that was the moment you knew he was back on track, and I think that's where the slot holders came begging for Pass the Buck last year.
Yeah, yes, that's right. And now he's in the Bendigo Cup, which it's pretty exciting to have him in there with a dog like him. He's only lightly raced, obviously, but look, he can make every post a winner if he's 100%.
I reckon he's one of the better-known greyhounds for a dog who's only had 23 starts. Like, you sit there and feel like, I know he's been around a while, and obviously you've had your issues with him, but to only have had 23 starts, like he's been a greyhound that's been in the spotlight for so long now.
He actually has. I think it's his ability, and look, 25-17 at Geelong, it's not walking, is it? That was his first run back, and look, he's certainly got the talent, Just love to get a good run, a consistent racing with him will be really good to show what he's really made of.
He's got a 23.49 personal best at Bendigo. You said to me then, you think he can hit the start in trials around 6:28, 6:30. How quick can he go if he does do everything 100% right? Because he's clearly, when he does do it 100% right, maybe the fastest dog in the country.
Yeah, look, you don't want to say they break records or anything, but he's capable of doing a record time, and he just does it in V's when he's right, and I just hope he'll be right on Friday night.
Talk to me about the other runner in the final, Hotel Whiskey 1. Very, very intriguing chaser. Has had 12 wins out of 29 starts. Came down from Queensland and mate, to be honest, has really set the track alight down here. You've got him absolutely flying, and because he's another one that can show blistering speed.
Very confident with him. I don't mind him in the 5. I like him in the 5. That's where he likes to be. He begins a lot better, getting closer, like round the 5 and 4 mark. Off the outside, he tends to miss it a bit, but as you saw last week, but off the 5, 4, 3, stuff like that, he always seems to begin a lot better. So, look, I love this dog. He's got a lot of class about him, and I've got no doubt that he'll run a big race.
Mate, when did he come on the Anthony Azzopardi radar? I'm just going through his form here. He went really quick at Capella back in April 1945, beat Golden Bear, who's a good dog up there. I noticed as well through the Winter Cup Carnival, ran second behind Tattooed, and then I noticed he's a son of Whiskey Wright. So have all the stars just aligned with this boy, and I reckon we're seeing the best of him now?
Yeah, look, Matt sent me, the owner, Matt, he sent me a couple, the brother, Gustus Finch, and At My Command down the first time. And he said he's got the best one at home. And I said, well, what's he doing there? Look, he said he's a bit of he played up a little bit and that, but look, Matt ended up saying, look, you want to give him a go, we'll give him a go, and if he plays up too bad, we'll send him home. But he's just absolutely wonderful dog. He settled in really well. That's how I ended up getting him, So, but look, he is a very, very classy dog.
Special, I imagine, from your perspective. I know how much the Melbourne Cup meant to you with your boy Whiskey Wright, to have a pup of his coming through that is doing what Hotel Whiskey 1 is doing at the moment.
He's like his dad, mate. I'll tell you how he is. His temperament's like his dad, everything. He's a wonderful dog. Look, I like him. I love to see him win it for the owner, mate. It will be a big night. So that's what I'm hoping he can get the result for his owner,
Well, I hear that they're making their way down from Queensland, mate, so some added pressure on you, Anth. Talk to me of the two. If you were to take your heart out of it and just know what the dogs are doing, who do you rate as your best chance going in?
Look, I don't like to split the pair, but only because of the box draw. I think past the bucks, if he happen to miss it, he's going to be in trouble. So I'm going with the 5, Hotel Whiskey 1.
Okay, there you go, Hotel Whiskey 1, the tip from Team Azzopardi. Hey, talk to me before we let you go. I want to know who's a greyhound to follow from your kennel, because I've spent a bit of time on Fast Track this morning, and I've gone through the kennel of dogs you've got, and I reckon you've got the best depth throughout the kennel that you've just about ever had.
Yes, I've got a very good kennel at the moment. I've got a couple of nice bitches here. I like Neeful. I think he can really go all the way. He's got his abilities untapped. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a hiccup going to Adelaide with him, but he's off the sidelines for a while. There's a few there, James. Look, there's a couple of young ones. Trying to go through them all now. Well, look, I really like Needful. I really think he can make something of himself,
You've got a wonderful problem. I think any trainer's dream is to not know which one to black book move.
Oh, no, look, they're all good as each other, but he's a bit of a special dog,
What makes a special dog, in your opinion? Is it obviously the times they run is what it's all about, but is there something else that when you've got a young dog coming through that you can pick out and say, as a trainer who's been there and had those top-class wins, is there something, a trait or something in a greyhound as a young dog that you can say, I reckon this boy or girl's going to make it?
Yeah, look, I'm big on temperament. Yeah. I think that plays a big role, and if they got good temperament, and obviously, like you said, fast times, well, that's what makes them really, isn't it? But temperament is everything. They tick all the boxes when they got something like that,
We're going to head away from racing as I let you go, Anth. I know you're a keen fisherman, mate. You like to launch the boat. Is there any little holidays, anything planned to throw the rod in over the next couple of months?
Not really, mate. I've got to wait till April before we go to Darwin, so that's my next trip. So, bit busy at the moment with the dogs, so no fishing at the moment.
Well, I reckon these dogs are going to pay for a nice new boat for you in the next 12 months or so, Anth. Hey, we appreciate your time coming on the podcast. You're always so kind with your time, so good luck in the Bendigo Cup. It's sure to be a ripping race, and you're in there with two genuine players, mate. We wish you well.
No, thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.